friends, it's Amanda. We are talking all about house cleaning routines today, and specifically how you can make your house cleaning routines less rigid so that you can get more stuff done. So if you've ever looked around the internet, tried to implement a house cleaning routine, you know that most of those routines are time bound. So what do I mean when I say time bound? Well, I'm going to pop some examples up right over here. But basically, if you find a monthly calendar that says do these tasks on these days for the whole month, that's a time-bound schedule. Some schedules can even be laid out for a whole year, where you have all your deep cleaning routines and everything scheduled for you for a year. So what's the problem with a time-bound schedule? Isn't that kind of the only way to do your house cleaning routines? Well, it's not, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But the issue with a time-bound schedule is what happens if you have a super busy day at work, and then you look at your schedule and think, man, I didn't get to all my tasks today. That's okay, I'll just do the tasks I missed today, tomorrow, plus the tasks I was supposed to do tomorrow, right? I'll just get back on track that way. Well, the following day your kid is sick. And then for 3 days, not only are you not doing your cleaning schedule, but you're just focused on trying to take care of sick children. You're in a survival mode at that point, right? And when you finally get it together, finally get back on track, you look around and it feels like you're starting over. So what's the other option if we're not gonna do a time-bound cleaning schedule? What's the other option? Well, there is another type of scheduling called loop scheduling. Loop scheduling is really good for anything that is regular, repeating, and has no deadline. So I'll get right into loop scheduling right now, but as we're talking about this, think about the other things in your productivity that are also regular, repeating, and have no specific deadline. Because you can do this loop scheduling for other areas of your life. It can really add a lot of freedom to other types of productivity as well. Anything that's regular, repeating, and has no set deadline. Okay, so what is a loop schedule? Essentially, a loop schedule is a list of tasks that you're going to do, and you just work on it as you can. The system I'm about to talk about is very heavily based on the Fly Lady cleaning system. If you've ever looked at Fly Lady before, you probably have gone to our website, been crazy overwhelmed by all the information, so many things, so many elements. Where do you even get started? She's got her baby steps, but it takes a month to get through them. You have to set up a control journal. It can be very overwhelming. However, I do think that there's some real magic in the Fly Lady system, and it's not as complicated as it seems. So we're gonna break it down. What are the components to the Fly Lady system? How does the loop scheduling come into play? And what adjustments can we make to that system to simplify it, make it much more approachable, and make it much more flexible, okay? I do have this, what Fly Lady calls a control journal. Mine is tiny. I have this little mini control journal. So we might flip the camera around at some point so that I can open this up and show you how to set this. Okay, so here's my little home cleaning binder. It's an index card binder. I like things to be mini. It's just much easier for me to reference it in very tiny version. You could definitely do this in a 3-ring binder with full-size sheet inserts if that's your preference. I just really like my planners and things to be small. I'm going to walk you through step by step every component of this system and how you can set yours up right now, okay? So when you open it up, these are the sections. I have daily, weekly, zones, meals, and tracking. You might or might not need those. These 3 are like the main components. I know I just told you a little bit ago to not do a time-bound schedule. Isn't daily and weekly a time-bound schedule? Kind of, but you'll see in this system how it's not. It also fits into the loop scheduling in a way. So we'll talk about that in just a little bit about why this is still flexible in this system. But let's start with zones. This is your deep cleaning area, and that is where you're going to implement your loop schedule. So how are you going to set that up? Well, step 1 is to split your home into 5 or 6 logical zones. You're probably going to think about this by floor plan, like where are the rooms in your home, and kind of group rooms together into 5 or 6 logical zones. I'll show you mine so that you get an example of what we're talking about here. Okay, so here are my zones. Zone 1 is the entrance and patio. So that's the front entryway of my house, the front patio, and the back patio. Zone 2 is my kitchen. Zone 3 is the bathroom, hallway, and kids' room. Zone 4 is the bedroom, my bedroom. And zone 5 is the living room. I have a pretty small home. You'll notice I only have 1 bathroom, and it's looped in with the hallway and the kids' room because that's where it's located. I only have 1 bedroom. I don't have a guest bedroom or spare bedroom. I don't have an office, anything like that. But if you do have those things, no problem at all. Just make your zones a little bit bigger. You'll see my zone lists are pretty short, and that's totally fine. If your zone lists are really long, that's also very fine. And if you need up to even 7 zones, that's probably going to work out pretty well too. I would say 5 or 6 is probably ideal, but if you need to go into the 7 zone territory, just do that. As many zones as you think you need in your home. Zones are areas of your home that are grouped together, that can be cleaned together, that's approachable, okay? So that's step 1, is to decide your zones. Step 2 is that for each zone, you're going to list all the deep cleaning tasks that should be done in that area. You're going to split your cleaning list not by weekly, monthly, annually, not by do it on this date. You're going to split your cleaning list by zones in your home. Break up your zones and then make a list of all the things that need to be done in that zone. So let's look back at mine. And like I said, my lists are kind of short because my house is kind of small, but if your house is larger, no problem. Make your list longer. That's totally fine. So for mine, we have in zone 1, sweep the porch, clean the window sill, clean the door frame, deep clean the entry floor, declutter the patio, like just get junk off the patio that accumulates, sweep the patio, and pull weeds. That's my patio and front area zone. Here's another example, kitchen. I've got wipe the baseboards, dust the shelves, clean the top of the cabinets, deep clean the fridge, deep clean the microwave, clean inside the stove, clean out under the sink, wipe down the cabinet fronts, organize one cabinet. So take one cabinet and declutter it. Wipe the bottoms of the chairs, wipe the table base, vacuum the door track for my sliding glass door, and clean the stove vent, okay? So you'll notice these are deep cleaning tasks. Your zones are your deep cleaning tasks. These are the things that on another type of schedule would probably be listed as monthly or every 6 months or once a year, but you're just gonna put all of that stuff on your zone schedule. So how are you gonna work your zones then? When are you gonna do those tasks? Well, ideally, you're going to do your zone cleaning for 5 or 10 minutes, maybe upwards of 15 minutes every day. And if you miss a day, that's okay, because what you're going to do is when you're working your zone, you're just going to go through your list and see what you could get done. And when you're done with your 15 minutes, you just stop. Wherever you are, you stop. And then if you can get back to your zone tomorrow, you pick up where you left off tomorrow. If you don't get back to your zone until 3 days from now, you pick up where you left off 3 days from now. This system is a loop within a loop, because what you're going to do is you're going to work your zone for 7 days. So I work zone 1 for 7 days, and whatever I get done in zone 1 in those 7 days is what I get done. Ideally, I would do the whole list, and for me, I almost always can because my lists are kind of short. But if you don't get through your whole list at the end of 7 days, just stop anyway. Go on to your next zone, work that zone for 7 days, do as much as you can, and then stop. Go on to your next zone, work that zone for 7 days, and stop. And you're going to cycle through your zones. You're going to go through all the way through zone 5 or 6 or 7, however many zones you have. And then when you get done with this, you're going to go back to zone 1. You're going to pick up where you left off. Maybe you got through that whole list last time you did zone 1. You're going to start back up at the top. Maybe there were a couple tasks that you didn't get to yet. So do those first and then go up to the top and just go as long as you can. Just continue cycling through. So you're going to cycle through your zones, but you're also going to cycle through your tasks within that zone. And if you stick to your system, you're going to get all these deep cleaning tasks done once every 6 or 7 weeks, which is probably better than you're doing right now. And if you miss days, it's no big deal. You're just going to pick up where you left off. So let's talk about the daily tasks now. Oh, actually, before we do that, let's talk about one more thing. This is straight from Fly Lady, the zone cleaning, straight from the Fly Lady routine. However, she tells you to do your zones on a time-bound schedule. She tells you to do your zones like this. Zone 1 is the 1st to the 3rd every month. Zone 2 is the 4th to the 9th. Zone 3 is the 10th to the 16th. I don't do this. I don't follow this. In fact, I'm going to take this out right now because I put it in here as reference, but I don't follow this because I don't want a time-bound schedule. I do what I just explained to you. I just work my zone for 7 days. And that means I just go to the next zone every Monday. I just go to the next zone. And if I miss a zone completely, I have a really rough 7 days and I miss everything, that's okay. Just go to your next zone anyway. And when you come back to that one, those tasks got done once every 2 months instead. And that's probably still pretty good. Okay, so what are the daily tasks then? Fly Lady in her system has a huge list of daily tasks. I'll see if I can put it up here on the screen, but she has a very large list of things that you're supposed to do every day. Personally, I found that really doesn't work for me. And the reason that it doesn't work is because it's just too rigid. This whole video is about making your cleaning system less rigid so that when you fall off of it, you can get right back on like it's not a big deal. And that was not my experience with the Fly Lady daily list. I felt like I was a slave to cleaning, trying to do this entire list every day. If I fell off of it, I felt like, what's the point of even trying to get back on track? Like, yes, my home is clean if I'm like perfect on this list, but if I'm not perfect, things fall apart. I did not enjoy that about it. So I actually use the daily list from a different system. So that system is all about just a little bit as often as you can is going to keep you moving forward. So her task list is to a few just really simple things that probably need to be done nearly daily for maintenance. Make the bed, wash the dishes, put away your clean clothes and shoes, deal with all the incoming mail as it comes in so it doesn't pile up, wipe down your counters. Those are just the things that those are maintenance tasks. In your ideal world, you're going to do those every single day. And then 1 or 2 2010s. A 2010 is where you clean for 20 minutes and take at least a 10-minute break. The author of this cleaning system says no marathon cleaning. If you clean for an hour or 2 hours straight, sure, your house is going to feel kind of clean after, but you're going to be exhausted. It's going to get messy again really fast, and you're going to be frustrated that you have to clean it again. Don't do that. Baby steps, just a little bit, and don't destroy your energy over cleaning your house. So 1 or 2 2010s where needed. And if your house is in a state of clutter and where you really need your 2010s to be is on decluttering, do that. If your house is pretty clutter-free, but you just need to pick up throughout the day, do that. Get your kids involved in the 2010s. Ask them to help out. Assign them tasks or do a 10-minute family cleanup where you all work together to clean up your home. 2010s are where needed. This to me opens up a lot of freedom because I can just look around my house and say, what can I do right now to move things forward, to keep my house on track and keep things moving forward, right? And it might be something like sweeping or mopping or cleaning the toilets. It might be something like just putting toys away or taking out the trash, like where needed. Okay, so the way that I track my daily tasks is actually in my planner. I have a daily task tracker. Here are the days of the month. It's October 4th. We're at the start of a new month, so I'm just getting started with this tracker. It goes all the way to the 31st, and I just put a little dot every day for all the tasks that I've done. And you'll notice it's not perfectly filled out. I didn't make my bed yesterday. I didn't make my bed today. I didn't put away clothes yesterday, but I did do it today. It's okay if it's not perfectly filled out. As long as this is mostly full, you're going to be making progress on keeping a clean home. As long as you're doing these tasks nearly every day, even if you miss an entire day, it's okay. Just get back on track the next day. Okay, and then the last component here is the weekly tasks. So Fly Lady has a system where she has a daily focus, something that you're going to focus on for that day. These are things that ideally should be done once a week. Now, I do have mine set up in a time-bound system. I do have a day of the week that I'm going to ideally do this stuff. You could take that out and treat this as a loop also. You could just take that out. And one of your daily tasks is going to be do one item from the weekly list, right? And you just do the next one, whatever you didn't do before. I find it works well for me to kind of keep it tied to a day. So my weekly tasks are washing sheets and towels, anti-procrastination day, that's straight from Fly Lady. That's doing something that you've been putting off. So it's very freeing on that day to say, okay, today I'm going to work on something that I've been putting off. Make sure you schedule yourself some free days because nobody wants to be a slave to cleaning their house. You need a break. Put some free days in. Also, if you miss anti-procrastination day on Tuesday, you can make up for it on your free day if you have to. So make sure you put some free days in. Thursday is car and purse day. Empty out your purse, clean out your car, take it for a car wash. Got another free day on Friday. I have a desk day. And then Sunday is resetting my system, setting up my planner for the coming week, checking in on making sure that all my checklists are up to date, my tracking is up to date, all of that stuff. Okay, meals. I'm not really using this because I use a meal planning app. So for me, this is kind of empty right now, but I have it in here in case I need to track any like favorite meals or anything like that. But if you have a paper meal planning system, you can put it in your control journal. For me, tracking, I have pet birds. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, and I need to track their weight to just make sure that they're healthy. So that's my only tracking. I rent my home, so I don't have a lot of like maintenance stuff. But if you're a homeowner and you have, you know, you need to, I don't know, service your air conditioning or service your dishwasher or any kind of those like sometimes tasks that you need to do, you could keep track of those in your tracker. So this is my planner. This is my Fly Lady control journal. I hope that this has made a lot of sense for you. I would love to hear your feedback in the comments below. What kind of cleaning system are you using now? Does it work for you? Is it time bound? And does this idea of like splitting it from any kind of timed schedule make sense for you? Can you see how you can just kind of loop through your tasks and make progress in your home? Leave me a comment below. I would love for you to follow my channel, subscribe so that you can stay with me for future content. My next video should be a flip through of this little planner right here. So if you're interested in seeing that, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Should be one right down here for you. Okay, thanks guys. See you in the next one.